Hi everyone, my name is Ryan and I'm the Midlife Skier. While taking a long ski weekend road trip in early February 2026, I skied at a few ski resorts in the Northwest Virginia area. Based out of a hotel in Harrisonburg, Virginia, we went to nearby Massanutten Ski Resort on the final day of this trip, Sunday, February 8th. I'd never really heard much either way about Massanutten, so I was curious to check it out, even though it is kind of far from North Carolina. Today, I'm going to go through my ski day at Massanutten, Virginia, and share the very pleasant surprise it turned out to be. The drive over to Massanutten from Harrisonburg was very short, about 20 minutes or probably even less. As usual, we got there somewhat early, about 30 minutes before opening. We were happy to see that there were plenty of parking spots right next to the slope, unlike the day before at Wintergreen. After parking, we walked to the ticket area to pick up our RFID tickets from the kiosks. This was super quick and easy. We then walked back to the car and geared up, making it onto the slopes about 5 minutes before opening. Once we got out on the slope, we were happy to see very few people in the lift line or on the slopes. Apparently everyone was sleeping in on this cold Super Bowl Sunday morning. As usual, I was on my Armada Declivity 88C skis. We started off by going to the ridged triple chair and warming up on the blue and black runs around this chair.
I sprayed a big, like a ton of snow.
Nice. The second run I did here was on a run called Mass Transit. The run I did on the slope was a total blast. I didn't know exactly why, but this trail had exactly the right snow conditions, pitch, width, and emptiness to make me totally comfortable. I was so comfortable, it was just like an out-of-body experience. As I just started shredding, my carve coaching sounds in my ear just started going nuts with positive feedback. You're doing really good. Before I knew it, at the bottom, I had totally crushed my prior carve score. After this first run on Mass Transit, I had to do it again. So I ended up doing this run 6 times total that day, and each time was just an absolute blast. Again, I don't know why, I don't know what it was, the conditions, the width, the pitch, I don't know, but it was just, again, like an out-of-body experience. It was so much fun, this just one run, lapping it. While I was having a lot of fun, my son wanted to check out the bigger part of the mountain. So we skied over to the Peak Quad Chair. From this chair, I skied the blue and 3 black diamond runs off of it. There was a double black diamond called No Hesitation that I had no interest in doing. But of course, my son had to do it, and he enjoyed it. He ended up doing it a few times. Interestingly, from the chairlift, which goes right over the run, this double black diamond trail was by far the busiest trail that morning. It was kind of like everyone was there to prove that they were good enough to do the toughest trail and wanted to do it first thing. I suppose it was probably also because everyone knew the trail would get tougher as the day went on and it got skied off. Another thing making it appear busier was they were having a ski patrol training session on the slope during the morning. We skied until about 11:30 a.m. when we took a break for lunch. It was on my way down to the lodge for lunch that I had my one fall of the day. And honestly, it was kind of hilarious. It was the flattest green beginner trail right under the lift. Somehow I caught the tip of one ski and it ended up going under and behind me. For a brief second, I was like Hot Dog Hans on one ski and then I fell. I'm sure it was hilarious, especially from the chairlift. Luckily, it didn't hurt and I could only laugh at myself. Hey GoPro, start recording. Hey GoPro, start recording. Son of a bitch. After lunch, we saw that the crowds had finally showed up. With a Super Bowl party to make it home for, we decided to start the 3.5-hour drive home around 12:30 p.m. All things considered, we had a really fun time at Massanutten. The snow conditions were much better than we had experienced at Wintergreen the day before. Also, the layout and parking situation was much better than Wintergreen. It also helped that the crowds were extremely low in the morning. The only real negative for Massanutten was similar to Timberline in that this resort is about an hour longer drive from our house than a couple of other good resorts. One other annoying thing we encountered was that our Verizon phones would not connect with anything while we were there. We could get no data, no signal, no voice. It turned out that 2 days before, the line running up the mountain under the peak chairlift connecting both ends of the lift had been cut, so they had to shut down the lift. In repairing the line to get the lift back up and running, somehow, I'm assuming, the fiber optic line running up to the Verizon cell tower at the top of the mountain was cut. So, in retrospect, we totally respected the trade-off made to get the lift back up and running at the cost of no cell coverage. Good call, Massanutten. With great snow and crowd conditions, my stats came out pretty good even though we skied for only 2.5 hours. Top speed was 38 miles per hour, average speed was 20.2 miles per hour, total vertical feet were 8,257 feet. As mentioned earlier, I was suddenly able to carve much better than at any other time this season. My top carve score was a whopping 115 in carving, 10 points higher than my previous best score of a 105 in short turns. In fact, I ended up with 4 run scores above 105 this day. It was really gratifying for me to have such a big breakthrough. Just the day before, I had mediocre scores and 2 hard falls. I really began to wonder if I would ever progress or if I was starting to regress in my technique. It was crazy to me how with the right conditions, I suddenly felt so comfortable and like I was beginning to kind of know what I was doing. It was also very exciting to make such a sudden leap, and it's kind of thing that keeps bringing you back to skiing. I figured out that it's now time for me to work on carving and not worry about parallel skiing when I use carve. I think I've progressed beyond worrying about parallel scores or skiing. Obviously, I still have a very long way to go to get better, but at least I can now see some concrete improvement and am able to have more fun and confidence. In summary, we really had a great time at Massanutten. The fantastic conditions and low crowd levels were a major plus. Also, the technique breakthrough I made definitely made the experience even sweeter. Aside from these pluses, we really liked the runs and layout of Massanutten. The food, lodge, and parking were all laid out well and very conventional, too. We'll definitely be back to Massanutten at some point next season. Maybe I can combine it again with a trip to Timberline and some other resort like Bryce or Canaan Valley Resort. So anyway, that's it for Massanutten, and I hope you have a great day.